A stepping stone between eras of starship design, the Lexington class would come to represent a technological leap forward for the United Federation of Planets. But what do we know about this marvel of ingenuity starship design? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic, using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Lexington class to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, this is my own kit-bashed starship design. Like most fans of Star Trek, it always bothered me that there seems to be a lack of starship designs for the early 24th century. Sure, we have a few, but most have been just recycled designs from the 23rd century. And so what does a good Trekkie do when they don't have designs for a certain era? Well, they make one, of course, and that's just what I've done here, inspired by various beta canon sources, so I hope you enjoy this little flight of my imagination that I've had. But of course, and as always, because this is just a bit of fan fiction, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin. At the turn of the century, the future was looking bright for both Starfleet Command and the United Federation of Planets. Though a peace treaty had not been signed yet, with the one-time lethal enemy of the Federation, the Klingon Empire, both sides agreed it was now only a matter of working out the details of that treaty. Both sides had even opened their borders to one another, and cultural informational exchanges were occurring with great frequency. And although originally part of the plot to attempt to derail the Federation-Klingon peace process, internal turmoil had diverted the Romulan Star Empire's attention away from that situation, to focus their attention on the power struggle occurring within their own empire. All was right with the galaxy, and as such, the Federation began to breathe a sigh of relief, and divert more of its resources back to its primary objective of space exploration. Back in the mid-2280s, the Excelsior class had held the hopes and dreams of the Federation's public as the Great Experiment. Believing the USS Excelsior would break the transwarp barrier and usher in a new age of space travel and exploration for the Federation, had kept its public awaiting its success with bated breath. That success, however, would never come, as the Excelsior would fail to reach anywhere near transwarp velocity. But even out of this failure, a new and deeper understanding of warp travel would unfold, a knowledge that Starfleet's best and brightest would use to rewrite the warp scale early on in the 24th century. Starfleet's best warp theorists had realized that in order to increase the speed of any starship in their fleet, a completely new engine system would have to be invented, particularly the nacelles themselves. And going forward, these scientists would reinvent the wheel, so to speak, creating a new style of warp core with far more powerful warp coils to match, based on the Excelsior's original transwarp systems. And by 2308, Starfleet Command was ready to test this new engine system, creating a completely new starship design in the process. And in 2310, the Lexington class would be born. Sitting at a length of 494 meters, the Lexington class was designed to be operated by 600 officers and crew members. Affectionately nicknamed the One with the Supercharged Nacelles, the new propulsion system of the Lexington class would allow this starship design to indeed exceed the maximum velocities of all starship classes currently in service to Starfleet. As a result, the Lexington class would have a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 7, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 8.5 for 12-hour increments, all speeds calculated on the new warp scale, of course. Her streamlined design would take the saucer section of an existing Excelsior class, but adding a completely new secondary hull designed to handle warp field stress better than her older sister. Tactically, the Lexington class would be well equipped with the standard arsenal of the time, which included phaser emitter banks, as well as photon torpedo launchers both forward and aft. But the Lexington class would also include a last-minute addition for testing, as a prototype phaser emitter array system would be quickly added to the underside of the secondary hull. It was Starfleet's hope that this new system would eventually become standard on all Starfleet vessels in the future, but for now, the addition of this array would allow Starfleet to test that system and gain valuable data to improve that system for official use. Shielding for the Lexington class would be standard for the time. The Lexington class's transporter systems would also be improved over existing Starship models of the time, with increased capacity and range for that system. A single large shuttle bay would be added to the traditional aft end of the secondary hull, and would house the latest in auxiliary spacecraft that Starfleet had to offer. Cautious about the class from the start, as Starfleet Command still remembered the Great Experiment debacle, the entire Federation would be impressed with the overall performance of the Lexington class. And although her new engine system was truly revolutionary, Starfleet Command quickly realized that there was a problem, that being that the duotronic components used in all current Starfleet starship designs had reached their ultimate peak in usability and performance. If Starfleet Command truly wanted a superior engine system for their upcoming new project classes, then they needed a new, much faster computer core, and would set the Daystrom Institute the task of inventing that new technology, eventually leading to the Ambassador class's launch and eventual failure. Unlike her older sister, whose hull design would end up being superior, making her service to the Federation last over a century, the Lexington class would only serve in Starfleet's Starfleet for a relatively short period of time, less than 40 years, as new technological breakthroughs, as well as the planned Project Galaxy classes, would force the Lexington class's early retirement. Created to be a stepping stone towards the future, the Lexington class itself would turn out to be a starship class that history would look fondly upon, becoming an example of the bright outlook and ingenuity of a new generation of Starfleet engineers, earning this class its happy place in Starfleet history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Lexington class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel create an entirely new computer core to help the Federation reach the furthest depths of galactic space? Then consider becoming a channel patron, a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to our Patreon account is in the description below. Thanks again for watching, live long, and prosper.